In this video, I'm going to talk about how to make line graphs and a pie chart using Google Sheets. In our first case here, we're going to take a look at line graphs using two different sets of data. So each set represents a population of animals versus time. So we have our years here, and we see how many deer were in this area during that time. And then we also have the same years, and we're going to look at the number of wolves in the area at that time. So we're going to use a line graph because a line graph represents a trend or a change in data over time. Let's take a look. So we have our data nicely in a chart. We have years, and we have one item per year. So the population of deer over time. To make our chart, all we're going to do is we're going to click and select the whole chart, all our numbers. Up at the top here, we're going to click the Insert button, and we're going to go down and we're going to insert a chart. Google Sheets will automatically guess what kind of chart you want. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. In this case, we do want a line graph or a line chart, and it has made a line chart. So we're good to go. We don't need to change anything here. If you wanted to make changes, we could change our type of chart here. You can see a few different options here. You can quickly click and change and explore. But we do want a line chart. We do want the kind they've suggested, so we're going to leave that alone. There are also other changes we can make here in the Customize tab, but for the sake of this video, we just want to look at the simplest example, so we're not going to worry about that. Let's try again with our wolves chart. I'm going to select the entire chart. I'm going to click Insert at the top. I'm going to click Chart, and it's going to guess. It guessed line chart again. That is what we want, so we don't need to make any changes, and that looks good. What if I wanted to combine my data? Could I put this all in one chart? Let's try. I'm going to click my first chart and select all the years and all the deer. I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select the wolves. So holding Control just lets me add a different set of data. Let's go to Insert. I don't actually know if this will work. I haven't tried this method. It didn't quite work. That's okay. What we could do, though, is we could make a combined chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my first chart over here. I'm going to copy the number of wolves and put that over here. And let's see if we can get this all in one chart. Insert, chart, and there we go. So now I have a line graph with more than one line on it, and so I can see over time how the number of deer has gone up slightly and then down and then up. And we can also see how that's related to the number of wolves. And we could, depending on the course, we could spend more time talking about this. The most important thing I want to see here is that a line graph is a good representation of an amount that changes over time. In this case, we can see how the deer and the wolf populations have changed over time. The other kind of chart I want to talk about in this video is a pie graph or a pie chart. And we use this when we want to represent parts of a whole. So here, and we've talked about this example before in class, we're looking at someone's budget. And we have found the percents of their budget, and so we can see that all the money has been spent. So this is a balanced budget. There's no leftover money. So when I take a look at any part of the budget, if I take a look at the rent or utilities, it's just one slice of that whole pie of all the money that's come in, or one slice of the budget pie. So that's an analogy we've used before to describe this, but it can actually kind of have a literal meaning when we talk about our pie chart. So let's take a look. I'm going to select all the items, and I'm just going to look at expenses here. So don't include the money coming in. We just want to take a look at all the expenses. So I'm going to click and drag the names of all my expenses. I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select all the percents of my expenses. And then I'm going to go up to that Insert button up here at the top. I want to insert a chart. And once again, it's going to guess, and it's guessed a column chart or a bar chart. There is some value to this. We can use this to compare categories, so we could quickly see that rent is a lot more than food and savings, and we can compare them. But because these all add up to 100%, because we're comparing parts of a whole, the best method to view this is with a pie chart or a pie graph. So I can click, and we can see one of the alternate suggested items is a pie chart. So I'm going to click, and there we go. Now I can see these as literal slices in the pie chart. So I can see rent is the biggest piece at 36%. I can see savings is the next biggest piece at 20%, and so on. So I could gather the same information just by reading my table of values here, but humans are visual creatures. We use sight to tell us a lot of information in our daily life. And so having a graph or a chart, which is just a visual representation of our data, is a way to help us quickly understand and gather information. So if I just gave you the chart and said, find me the biggest 3 expenses, well, you'd find the 36 pretty quickly, but then you got to kind of read the chart over and over, and okay, 20 is the next biggest one, and then 16. Was there anything before this that was bigger than 16? I got to go back and look. But here, visually, it's a lot easier. I can quickly see rent is the biggest slice, then savings, and then debt payment up here at 16%. We could do this another way as well. I'm going to delete this and try again. I'm going to select the name of all my expenses, only the expenses. Don't include the take-home pay. Don't include the totals. I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select the actual dollar amount instead of the percentage. I'm going to go up to Insert. I'm going to insert a chart. It guessed again. It guessed I wanted a bar chart or a column chart, but I want to switch it to pie chart. And we can see the percentages are actually here again. So when we make a bar chart or a pie chart in Google Sheets, it'll actually calculate the percent for us. Oops. So I have the actual number. So I can hover and I can see the actual dollar amount, $1,800, but it also gives me the percent. So there's kind of an advantage doing it this way in that I can see the actual value and the percentage of the whole that it represents. So depending on how you're answering this question or what the assignment asks you to do, you can do it either way. You can just purely do the percents like we did first, or you can just do the actual dollar values and it'll calculate the percents itself for you.